Welcome back. Today we are diving deep into, well, a really essential tool, I think. It's free, and it helps answer that question. Is my storage device actually fast? You get that slick new NVMe drive, or maybe you're wondering about an old USB stick. How do you actually measure the performance? We're evaluating the benchmarking utility known as CrystalDiskMark. Okay, let's unpack this.
Right. CrystalDiskMark, or CDM. It's
Yeah.
pretty much the go-to utility for this. And its genius is really its simplicity, but also its capability. It's freeware, totally free. And it's designed to test the maximum read and write speeds of basically every type of storage you can think of. Old hard drives, SATA SSDs, the fast NVMe ones, even external USB drives. It's been kept up to date for years by its author, Hio.
And I think for anyone listening who, maybe troubleshoots PCs or build systems, that accessibility is just fantastic. Freeware, okay, great. But the portable app part, that's a huge convenience factor.
Oh, definitely. That portability is extremely useful. You can just download the zip file, right? Put it on a USB stick. Then you can run the actual program, the executables, directly from that stick. Test storage on pretty much any modern Windows machine it supports. Windows 7 right up through Windows 11. No installation needed. Perfect if you're quickly checking a friend's PC or testing parts on a bench.
Okay, so you run it, and the report shows these different kinds of speeds. Sequential and random. And I think this is where people sometimes get a bit confused. Why do we need both? I mean, if I just want my computer to feel snappy, why care about, say, moving one huge file versus lots of tiny little data chunks?
Ah, yes. That's really the critical insight here. So the sequential test that measures how fast data moves when it's all in one big continuous block. Think about transferring like a massive video file, maybe 10 gigs. A high sequential number is good for that, for bulk storage tasks.
Right.
But the real measure of how fast your system feels, that often comes down to the random test, specifically the 4K random test.
4K random, okay.
Yeah. Because system responsiveness, loading apps, browsing the web, multitasking, that stuff doesn't usually involve moving one giant file. It involves reading and writing thousands of tiny little 4 kilobyte data blocks all over the drive, often at the same time. So if your 4K random score is low, your whole operating system can feel sluggish, even if the sequential speed looks amazing on paper.
Right, okay, that makes sense. Now, CDM also gets a bit more advanced. It lets you test with multiple queues and threads. For someone just learning about this stuff, why bother with those settings? Is that just for, like, benchmark bragging rights?
No, not at all, actually. It's really vital for properly testing modern SSDs, especially NVMe drives. See, a traditional SATA drive is kind of like a single lane road. It handles requests mostly one after the other. But NVM drives, they're built for parallel processing. Think of a superhighway, multiple lanes, which are like the threads. And they have areas where multiple requests can stack up, waiting to be processed. Those are the queues. If CDM didn't test with multiple queues and threads, it just wouldn't show you the true potential of these modern drives. It'd bottleneck the test itself.
Yeah. So the NVMe drive is like this multi-lane highway, and you need a test that can actually fill those lanes to see how fast it can really go. So, and then we get these four main numbers, right? Megabytes per second for sequential read-write and 4K random read-write. But let's step back, connect this to the bigger picture. We see a huge number, maybe 7,000 megabytes sequential read, looks incredible. But you mentioned these are synthetic benchmarks.
Yeah.
So does that mean they're not like real? How much difference is there usually between the test number and, my actual daily use?
Well, synthetic means it's a simulation. It's designed to push the drive to its theoretical maximum under specific controlled conditions. It's standardized, repeatable, which is great for comparing different drives side by side, but it might not perfectly match what happens when you are, say, rendering a video while also having 50 browser tabs open and downloading a game. Your specific workload might be different. So yeah, the real world performance can vary. That discrepancy is the main thing to keep in mind.
Okay. And it's worth pointing out, right, that CDM is laser focused on speed benchmarks. It's not checking for drive errors or monitoring its health in real time. You'd need other tools for that complete picture. And yeah, there are alternatives out there like HDBench or SpeedOut, but they're also mostly synthetic tests too, generally.
Exactly. They serve a similar purpose, comparative speed testing.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? CrystalDiskMark is definitely powerful. It's free. It's pretty customizable if you want it to be. Great for a quick assessment of any drive.
Yeah.
And using it is straightforward. Pick your drive, maybe tweak settings if you know what you're doing, or just hit the all button. Then look at those results, those MB's numbers, especially focusing on the 4K random read and write if you want to know how fast the system will likely feel day to day.
Right. And that brings up a final thought, maybe something for you to chew on.
Yeah.
When you are looking at those four key numbers, sequential read, sequential write, 4K random read, 4K random write, and you're thinking about a specific use case, like should this drive be my main OS drive for maximum responsiveness, or is it better as just a big vault for storing media files? Which one of those four metrics do you think is the single most important speed to look at if your main goal is minimizing that feeling of system sluggishness and just maximizing your daily productivity?